Greetings and welcome to the second podcast of the 11th inning stretch, recorded on Friday, April 1st, and to be released on Saturday, April 2nd. We'll be previewing the Cardinals and where they're at, where we hope for them to be, a little about where they are at in competition with the Cubs, etc. So, Alex, I want to start with first base. That seems to be the position that that we're talking about the most. By we, I mean the writers, the analysts, the fans. They wonder whether Matt Holliday is going to be playing first, whether Brandon Moss is playing first, Matt Adams, or maybe even Stephen Piscotty. So they got essentially four capable first basemen, but you can't have four people playing first all the time. So where do they fit in?
So there was I don't know, it was a report out of spring training, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago that said Piscotty was even out of the running for first base, that they had kind of like kicked him to the side and that he was basically going to be an outfielder the whole time. And I feel like the decision for that was just to make him focus on outfield and not have to do two different drills all the time. Matt Adams, in my mind, I think he's third, out of the three that are going to play there.
So you're saying that he's third in line, essentially?
Yeah, because he hasn't – I mean, he's hit some home runs, some monumental home runs, walk-offs and all this kind of stuff, but he hasn't productively at the plate shown that he can do it on a regular basis. Defensively, he's really good. I think Matt Adams is a solid defensive first baseman. I think the way that's going to shape out for the top two, as in Matt Holliday and Brandon Moss, is obviously going to be on who pitches.
Wait, do you mean Matt Adams?
No, Moss. Brandon Moss.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Brandon Moss. I'm sorry, my apologies. Brandon Moss and Holliday. I believe it's going to come down to who's pitching. It's going to be a revolving door. We haven't seen something like that in a long time.
No, and it's interesting you say that we haven't seen it in a while. It's because the revolving door has been sort of more of a middle infield type thing for the Cardinals in the past. For a long time, up until Peralta came and Colton Wong, they haven't had a stable second baseman or shortstop combo. And now we're seeing that shift to first base. If you remember,
they've always had one or the other.
You had Skip Schumacher convert from an outfielder to a second baseman. It's just things like that. And the Cardinals have never really had a solid shortstop and second baseman up until what we have now in Peralta and Wong. But now we're seeing that shift to first base, which I think is interesting.
But I don't think you can go wrong. Brandon Moss, in my mind, has shown a lot of power this spring training that he's going to be hitting, I think, for a little bit more. I would say around 20, 25. And Holliday always gets his 20, 25, whatever he does.
And what people don't remember about Holliday before he got hurt was that he got on base. Didn't he get on base like 40 straight times to start last season?
It was something like that, a ridiculous stretch of games or something that he had gotten on. I mean, he's a good baseball player.
Yeah.
Defensively now, I feel he's a liability. That's the big problem people have. And the reason that they still give him nonetheless crap for it is because when they say he's going to first base, they're thinking that he's going to have to do the same physical things at first base. And being a person who played first base, it's not a lot of that.
Yep.
A lot of it is you get to what you can get to, and if you can't, then you go back to first base and you hope the second baseman can. In the outfield, if it's hit to you, you have to chase the ball down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
That's the idea with converting Holliday to first base, is that they want to essentially extend his career. He has, the Cardinals have an option for him next season, so he may not even be back with the Cardinals next season, depending on how he does. If he plays like trash, then why would you bother bringing him back? But if this gamble does work out, the Cardinals can get an extra couple of years out of Matt Holliday, and that's, I think, incredibly valuable. Sort of going along with this. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying the same thing you did. I think no matter what he does, I think they're still going to bring him back next year. I don't think that there's any way that they don't, because even if he doesn't, he's still a leader in the clubhouse, a leader in the community.
Sure.
So I think he'll be back next year no matter what. The question is if they're going to bring him back after that option.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if he plays like crap 2 years in a row, there's probably not a huge chance they bring him back. Maybe on a 1-year deal, but I think if he plays well at first base for the next 2 years, I think there's a chance of at least 2-year deal,
Okay.
possibly 3. But it won't go any longer than 3, I don't think. But I think what you're saying is right. They're bringing him to just prolong that career a little bit because he's one of the prolific power hitters in the league.
One of the things that this sort of depends on that we haven't discussed is the DH. I mean, the DH might be coming to the National League within a couple of years. And I say might because, the whole big debate about whether we should have it in the National League, whether we should keep it the way it is now, whatever. This is not an argument about the DH. But what I am saying is that if there is a DH in the National League, Matt Holliday is perfect for that. That's, have the Cardinals do to Matt Holliday what the Angels are doing to Albert Pujols, essentially. Just plug him in the DH spot. There's no need to have him play first base or have him play any defense or fielding positions.
I mean, look at David Ortiz. David Ortiz was a first baseman, and then played there for a while, and everybody realized that it defensively was a liability at first base.
He's made all his money going at the DH.
Exactly, and I honestly think that he'll be the first DH inducted into the Hall of Fame. You can't deny his numbers. Dude is crazy when it comes to the plate. But I mean, if the DH comes, and like you said, it's not a debate whether it should or not. I'm kind of for and against it. I think that there's pros and cons for it. Obviously, it's not just one-sided. If that's the case, yeah, I mean, if it comes in his career, then obviously I think he'll be the DH.
Sure.
The problem is if, as of right now, they've just now allowed that issue to sit on the table. Yeah. Earlier they were kind of like laughing it off. So the way that it's going, I still don't think it'll be around in his playing career. I honestly think that he will retire, and then that'll be implemented just, like a couple seasons too late, probably.
Real quickly, I just thought of this, and I want to get your opinion. When you think of Matt Holliday over his entire career, what do you think of him as? A Rocky, an Oakland A, or a St. Louis Cardinal? I think of him, and here's my answer. I think of him as a Colorado Rocky, to be brutally honest with you, because I don't know if you remember this. I think it was like 07 or 08. It was when the Rockies made the World Series. So it was 08. The Rockies had that one-game playoff against the Padres to get in, or to see who won the West. And there's a ball hit to the outfield. I forget who hit it. And then Holliday was rounding third base, and he slid home. And there's a big debate about whether he actually, 1, got tagged, 2, touched the plate. And that's sort of when he became famous. He was a great hitter before that, don't get me wrong, but that's sort of where he became famous. And his first team was the Rockies, at least as far as I know. And that's where he became famous. So I'll always think of him as a Rocky when it's all said and done, but his contributions with the Cardinals obviously cannot be taken away from.
Okay, so I mean, I guess sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can keep going. I mean,
no, go ahead.
Just the way that I look at it is yeah, he was a Rocky. He was an Oakland A. And yes, he did. The thing is he led a team. He was one of the leaders of the team of the Rockies to lead him to the championship.
Right.
But the thing for me is he didn't win the championship. And I'm not saying that should take away from anything. I think the thing that separates him from me from the Rockies, the A's, and the Cardinals is look what he's done in the community with the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's doing it's home runs for kids or something like that. He's really well known in the community. He's putting a lot of his time and effort back into the community of St. Louis, and I think that that's going to separate him from the other places. He has stated that he wants to finish his career as a Cardinal. Usually, if you don't feel that you are that organization, you want to finish your career with the team you think you are part of. Just for me, he's just a leader in our clubhouse. He's a leader in our community. I honestly, if he retires and makes it into the Hall of Fame, to me, he's a Cardinal through and through. Obviously, I can see your point being to the Rockies.
And the thing with your argument is that he actually won a championship with us. He did not win when he was with the Rockies. Remember, they lost to Boston.
Yeah.
He actually won a ring with us, which says a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be based off that. It's kind of a sad truth that it is based off where you win your championship. But the thing is he only won with us. He was still a leader on a baseball team. He was still one of the people that everybody looked up to win that championship. I just think that you can't deny the fact that the guy has put so much time and effort back into St. Louis that you can't say that he's not a Cardinal. He's one of the people that kind of helped the Cardinal way. That's just the way that I kind of see it.
Sort of going along with Matt Holliday, because he obviously needs to stay healthy for the Cardinals to have any sort of success. But the entire team has to stay healthy for the Cardinals to have any sort of success. And I'm talking about the entire pitching staff. Yadier Molina, although we have a very capable backup. But Yadier Molina, Randall Grichuk, Carlos Martinez, Matt Holliday, Johnny Peralta. Whenever he comes back, he needs to stay back. And our bullpen also needs to, not have any problems or injuries. So I just want to hear your comments on the health issue, and especially in shortstop right now with Tejada now just going on the DL. Shortstop is a complete black hole of a position. My guess is that they'd have Greg Garcia start opening day, but that's not who you want for obvious reasons. Your comments?
Okay, the health thing at that catcher is I'm going to take a quote from Tony La Russa. It doesn't matter. I don't care if Yachty bats 0. He'll be he's my catcher. He will always be. I don't care how he hits. He knows the pitching staff, and there's no better catcher than one that knows their pitching staff. Like you said, Randall Grichuk has had health problems in the past, and he is a huge key player if he can stay healthy. I think a potential 30 home run guy. And at shortstop, I'm tired of hearing, it's to be, they're just plugging someone there. I think in my mind it's got to be Aledmus Diaz. I think that you got to give the guy a shot. I know he's 25, but he had a good spring. He's deserving of a shot. I'm just sick and tired of people coming up with excuses. Oh, he's not good enough. He's not Johnny Peralta. Well, no, he's not Johnny Peralta. He's Aledmus Diaz. That's who he is.
Right.
You should never take a player who hasn't played an inning in the major leagues and compare him to one who's played multiple.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Peralta has huge power potential. We don't know what Aledmus Diaz has on a full year span, and we won't know for a long time. We may never know, but I think it's time to let Diaz put him there and let him shine. Let him and Colton get some work. I think that's what you have to do if you're the Cardinals.
Although the problem with Diaz is that, he was just in one of the cuts that the Cardinals made recently. He was part of those cuts, so he's going to start the year down in the minor leagues. So I guess you start Garcia and then, see what he can do, if anything, and then if that's not the answer, then go ahead and just plug in Diaz.
I don't even – man, Greg Garcia is good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good, young, bright player. And especially it helps with the double play turns, given the fact that him and Colton Wong were at the same college. Greg Garcia was Colton Wong's shortstop in college, which is a huge help. And I love Greg Garcia. I think it was awesome the fact he came in last year and shined. So, if you want to try and go ahead and put Greg Garcia there and see what he can do, by all means do that. Obviously they're the managers. We're sitting here just scrutinizing what happens.
Yeah, we're the ones.
Exactly. I think overall in the discussion, I feel like Aledmus Diaz deserves a shot. He's a guy that busted his butt through spring training, hit really well, hit for power. Defense is good. He's not the typical shortstop. He's actually quite tall and stocky.
Sure.
You can't. You want in a youthful team. but you're not going to give a guy with some youth a shot. That's just my big thing. I think he proved enough to at least get some starts. I'm not saying start him out just straight, hey, you're the shortstop from now on, do what you got to do. If if you start him one day, and then or start him 2 days back to back and then start Greg Garcia, and then start him another 2 days and then Greg Garcia. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Until he can get situated to where he needs to be, until Johnny Peralta gets back. Because just because Johnny Peralta gets back in like July doesn't mean he's going to be exactly ready in July.
Yeah, no. When you miss half a season, you don't just come back from injury and perform at your peak, and especially when you're well into your 30s, as Peralta is. He's going to need a bunch of at bats where he's going to do nothing but strike out and ground out, and to get him back.
Yeah, people make excuses all the time why Diaz shouldn't start. In my mind, he deserves a shot.
No, yeah, I don't see why you can't give him a shot. I'm not, like you said, you don't have to plug him in for the next 2 months. Just give him some at bats, give him a week or two, and see what he does. I don't see Greg Garcia being a totally better option than Diaz, but that's just me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think and I don't trust Jed Jerko playing shortstop at all.
No, I don't either.
A guy who's played second base, I don't think that he has the range to play shortstop.
No.
So I don't trust him at all playing shortstop, not one bit. If he starts at shortstop, I let's just say
we would question the management a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit. Jed Jerko was signed as a utility guy and not an everyday shortstop.
Right.
A couple games here and there, sure. Not an everyday shortstop.
Fair enough.
In my mind, he's still not even an everyday second baseman.
Sort of going along with this whole health thing, we're trying to make everything connect into one big show here. Is the rivalry the Cardinals have with the Cubs? That's the Cubs are the team everyone's talking about this season, whether you like it or not. It's kind of weird having it be that way. But if the Cardinals have any chance of beating the Cubs, they obviously have to stay healthy, and a lot of things have to go right. True. But I found it interesting because I was thinking about this, a couple months back in the middle of the offseason, not much to think about. And I was thinking how, the Cubs overall, it seems like they have the better team. You can argue that, in which we're going to currently. But it almost seems like that they have the better team. But however, when you go position by position, you would almost choose more Cardinals over Cubs. Like, for example, we'll start a catcher. Yadier Molina versus Miguel Montero. It's not very close. If Molina can stay healthy, he's the best catcher, period. I'll take Molina. 1-0 Cardinals. First base, Rizzo over whoever the Cardinals have. I'll take Rizzo over Adams, Moss, or Holiday any day of the week. I think Rizzo's an MVP candidate, 1-1. Second base, Colton Wong or Ben Zobrist. I've never been a huge fan of Ben Zobrist. I think he's overpaid, and I think he's somewhat overrated. He's still very good, and I like his versatility. If you plug him in anywhere, he'll play it, and that's incredibly valuable. But when it comes just to second base, Colton Wong or Ben Zobrist, I might take Colton Wong. Shortstop, let's assume the Cardinals have Peralta, because the Cardinals, we'll assume here, are healthy, both teams being healthy. Peralta over Addison Russell. There was some debate between us about whether, who we would take. Offensively, I will take Peralta over Addison Russell. Defensively, I'll take Addison Russell over Johnny Peralta. But you had it the other way.
Well, the only reason I had it the other way is, the youth thing. You're phasing older guys out and bringing the new guys in, and you can't. He doesn't hit as many home runs, but he hits from the 9 hole. Like, they put him in the 9 spot, and he destroys in the 9 spot. He's a second leadoff guy. He can hit a home run when he wants to, or he can get a bunt base hit. You never know, and that's just what's super cool about a guy who hits in the 9 spot.
let's back up for a second because you said that he's basically a second leadoff guy. That's a thing Joe Madden has been doing with the Cubs is that they have the ability to essentially bat two leadoff guys, and that's why they bat the pitcher eighth. And that's what Addison Russell is, basically a second leadoff guy, and that's very valuable. But if you're looking in terms of power, I think it's all Peralta.
Well, and that's the thing is you can't judge. You know, you split yours up offense and defensively, but usually you get one or the other. You
True.
don't usually get a shortstop who hits for power and is a strong defensive person. I mean, even look at Troy Tulowitzki. He's strong power, but defense he might be average.
He's average.
And that's the thing. Addison Russell, I think, hits above average, and definitely his defense is crazy good.
Right.
And like you said, the whole Joe Madden batting the pitcher eighth and another guy and the position player ninth. I think if and we'll get to it later, if Colton Wong doesn't make the leadoff spot, I think you should bat Colton Wong ninth.
I agree.
Because all of our pitchers that we have can hit somewhat. They're not awful hitters. They hit something. They actually push each other to hit. And I strongly believe in batting Colton Wong ninth. I feel like he feels a little bit more importance down there, and he'll get pitches to hit because of the leadoff guy being behind him. Especially if it's Matt Carpenter at the leadoff.
Okay, so let's assume I'll give you Addison Russell there, but I'm not going to personally. I'm not going to give him a huge advantage over Peralta.
No.
But it's close. We can agree there.
Yeah.
Third base, Chris Bryant or Matt Carpenter. I'm going to take Chris Bryant just because he's younger. But man, Matt Carpenter is good. We don't need to state his stats or his abilities. But I'm going to take Chris Bryant slightly over Matt Carpenter, defensively and offensively. Although Matt Carpenter is one hell of a player. Left field is interesting because let's assume Matt Holliday plays there just because that's his natural position, or Kyle Schwarber for that's the Cubs left fielder. Both are incredibly bad defensively. I'm not going to say they're good at all. Schwarber and Holliday do not have any range. I would not trust them running down a fly ball. They are very ungraceful. If you look at them make plays, you sort of have to hold your breath for a few minutes or for a few moments. But when you say both are pretty bad defensively, Schwarber has the edge offensively by a mile. I think he's one of the better raw offensive talent guys in the league. I'm going to give it to Schwarber. Center field, the Cubs are going to have presumably Chris Fowler, although they might substitute in Soler. And then the Cardinals will have Randall Grichuk. I'm going to take Grichuk. Whether he's up against Fowler or Soler, I'm going to take Grichuk because I think he's more complete offensively. And defensively, I think him and Fowler are comparable. So I'm going to take Grichuk. Left field is an interesting one. Right field is an interesting one. Stephen Piscotty and Jason Hayward. I'll let you begin this conversation.
Okay, so we're trying, the Cardinals, during the offseason, they had a question to ask themselves whether they trusted Piscotty or Hayward, or if Hayward was going to be worth the money compared to Piscotty. And I think that the trust in their own guy and Piscotty was the right decision. Hayward, in my mind, compared to the year he had, the thing is that he was supposed to be, like the next 30-30 guy, or 40-40 guy. He was supposed to hit 40 bombs and steal 40 bases for you, and it was supposed to be like that for years. He hasn't even come close.
And that was with the Braves. He was projected to do all this. The Braves were having him up as this great outfielder who was just going to set the world on fire and get MVPs and walk into the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. You can't doubt his defense. He is by far probably the best defensive right fielder in the league, no doubt. And I'm not taking that away from him at all because he showed it with the Cardinals and he saved a lot of runs, especially with his arm and his glove. But he'll never be that 40-40 guy. He may never be that 30-30 guy.
He may not even be a 20-20 guy.
I don't see how the Cubs have so much faith in him to be that 30-30 guy, to be that middle of the lineup kind of guy or leadoff guy. Yes, he has power. Yes, he can hit. But the thing is he'll never hit for power and hit
for average
and togetherly. The thing is with Piscotty, he doesn't have that prediction of 30-30, 20-20. He's there to hit home runs and to drive in runs. That is Piscotty's main deal out in the outfield. He is an outfielder. They've kind of pretty much ditched him with the first base thing. He is an outfielder. He's supposed to hit. That's his thing. And he will be in the middle of our lineup, I believe. I think he should bat second, if not fourth, fifth. Piscotty is that guy for us. Hayward wasn't that guy. We couldn't figure out if Hayward was going to – I mean, he batted in so many different spots for us, and he'll do the same thing with the Cubs.
Yeah.
He'll bat leadoff for about a week, and then they'll be like, man, his leadoff thing isn't working out so well. Let's drop him down the lineup. Well, that's not going to work out either. He's hitting worse here. So they're going to bounce him around, but he'll never be like you said, he may never be the 20-20 guy.
One thing I do think is that he is – I think his numbers are going to be slightly inflated, being that he's in Wrigley Field. And anything – a lot of stuff can, homers wise can leave the ballpark. If the wind's blowing out, Wrigley Field is like Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. If it's a fly ball, it's leaving. It's gone. I think his numbers will be slightly inflated, but I don't see him being better than when he was with the Cardinals. Defensively, yeah, he'll be the same. He'll be great. Offensively, I don't think so.
And I think Piscotty will play average in the outfield. May not be above average. I mean, I was listening to ESPN radio the other day, and some guy said that he thinks Piscotty's going to go out and win the MVP.
No,
I don't know who it was, but I am so sorry, sir, because that's not going to happen. You're basically for that position. You're going against Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, you're going up against Bryce Harper, who basically can play the same position.
Yeah.
He can play right or left field, even center field. You're not going to beat out Bryce Harper for MVP being Stephen Piscotty. Matter of fact, I think Bryce Harper wins MVP even again. But you're not Stephen Piscotty's not winning MVP. I don't know who said that. I don't remember his name, but I am so sorry, sir. If you happen to see this, you are wrong. Like you're not even close to the truth. What's going to happen? Wrong.
So who would you rather have? We'll wrap up in straight up. Piscotty or Hayward? Who do you have? Just
I'm gonna take Piscotty just for the fact that his expectations are low. So I think he's gonna outperform what everybody expects of him.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think if he can bat 290, perfect. And play average defense.
Bat 290 with about 20-25 home runs, I think is a good season.
That's about as good as they get, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I want to touch on the pitching stats real quick. The starting pitching, I think the Cubs have pretty good guys at the top. If Jake Arrieta pitches anything close to what happened last year, the Cubs will be pretty good at the top. Depth-wise, Cardinals. The Cubs, they are pretty shallow at the back end of the rotation with Hamill and Kyle Hendricks. I wouldn't touch either of them with a 50-foot pole. And the Cardinals, Martinez, Leak, Waka, put in Alex Reyes later on in the year, whatever. I'll take the Cardinals' depth any day over the Cubs.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The thing that kind of cracks me up with the Cubs is, they had Jason Hamill and Jeff Samardzija, and they traded them both to the A's, and then ended up signing Jason Hamill back. I mean, I don't know what their plan was there. I don't know why you would want a guy who usually doesn't even hit 500 in the. I mean, I'm watching the TV right now. Jason Hamill's actually pitching. I mean, I don't think that he's a trustworthy fifth starter. I mean, you got okay. So you have, like you said, you have Jake Arrieta, who can, if he comes anywhere close to what he did last year, he's gonna be awesome. And that's your ace. That's awesome. That's what you got in him. Your next guy who is supposed to be your ace is John Lester, who can't even pick off to first base, and he's a left-handed pitcher. The Like you literally just have to step towards first base and throw. Like there's no spins, no nothing. Can't pick off at first base. Pitching wise, a great competitor. He's awesome. He had a good record last year, I believe, as well. Strikes out a lot of people. I don't trust a guy who can't pick off to first base. I don't think that you're going to have guys running like crazy, just like they did last year. You're going to have people stealing bases. Obviously, then the Cubs took John Lackey from the Cardinals. The thing with John Lackey is if he can put his arm back in that arm slot he was pitching at during the postseason, when the umpires were actually taking the ball away from him, thinking he doctored it up, and he didn't. If he can pitch like that, that's your second pitcher. I don't care what anybody says. John Lester, third.
Yep.
John Lackey will be second. John Lackey figured out a different way to throw last year, and it worked out fabulously. And I think if he can figure that out again, or if he's been practicing that arm slot, I think it'll be great. But like I said, and both of those guys are old. Like John Lackey is old.
They're bound to decline at some point.
John Lester is not as old. He's getting there.
The Cubs don't have one young pitcher. Think about it. Think about this for just 1 second. All of their rookies and all of their talent and everything great that they have right now, young, like youth-wise, it's all hitting and it's all offense, and that's great and all. But when John Lackey and Lester retire and or leave within the next couple of years, who do they have to pitch? Now they can go out and sign somebody. I'm sure they have the money to do that. They're the Cubs, but they have not brought up any young pitching at all.
No, and like you said, the Cardinals have depth. Like there is a ton of depth, and the big thing that separates the two for me is that the Cardinals pitching staff can actually, hit. They are in the National League, so they have to hit.
It's funny because Mike Leake is a better offensive replacement than Pete Kozma is.
Exactly. Like Pete Kozma hit like one home run in 15 years, and it hit a lady in the face. Like that was the only home run. I just don't understand why. It fathoms me why you sign a whole bunch of pitchers who can't hit like at all. We're in the National League and they can't hit.
We need to do a special podcast just for hitting pitchers and talk about hitting pitchers, because when you don't get the bat off your shoulders, you automatically have 8 guys in your lineup, and you're just sacrificing one guy, and that's a huge detriment, I think. But we should do a special podcast just on hitting pitchers because it's bad.
Exactly, it is bad. Yeah, and like Madison Bumgarner hit like 5 home runs last year, and I don't know where his power came from that because he's never done that.
Yeah.
Mad Bum hit 5 home runs. Okay, think of how many.
That might be Madison Bumgarner might have more home runs in one season than Pete Kozma has an entire career.
Well, and that's the thing is, think of how many home runs he hit compared to some position players who hit every day who might not even have that. Like Darwin Barney, for instance.
Yeah.
I don't think has had a season that he's hit 5 home runs. Obviously he's hit home runs, but you like the guys like that who don't hit home runs. Like I don't know why it's a big thing. You either have pitchers who hit home runs, or you have position players who can't hit base hits, but they can hit home runs. Like Luis Valbuena can only hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the hell he bats like $130, but hits 25 home runs.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I just don't get why the Cubs are like, all these pitchers, but they can't hit worth a lick.
I will wrap up this in one stat. In 5 years of his playing career, Pete Kozma has 3 home runs. And like you said, in 2015, Madison Bumgarner has 5 home runs. So
Is that official? It was 5?
Yeah. I'll just leave that there.
Exactly.
I want to go on to talking about the bullpens here for just a second. I don't think the Cubs have much of anything in their bullpen, to be brutally honest with you. Pedro Strop
their
and
closers really well.
Hector Rondon is good. I will give him that. But Pedro Strop and whoever else they have, Trevor Cahill, Travis Wood. I guess it's Travis Wood.
Travis Wood is pretty good.
But I'll take who the Cardinals have. I'll take Trevor Rosenthal over Hector Rondon. I'll take Jordan Walden, who may or may not be healthy, over whoever they have. Kevin Seagrass and Seth Maness are beasts. So I'll take the Cardinals bullpen too.
Okay, the only thing that I'm going to go against you with is I don't trust Jordan Walden whatsoever.
If he can stay healthy, he's pretty good.
I just don't. He comes to the mound, and I feel like the game goes so slow that the batters and all the fielders kind of go, whatever. The batters are just like, throw me a fastball, and they hit it, but all the infielders are on the heels of their feet, not on the balls of their feet. And I don't trust a guy like him enough. I mean, if he's gonna be good, then go ahead and throw him. Obviously, do what you got to do. I don't trust him really at all. To be honest with you, I would rather have Maness over. I would rather it would do like Maness, Seagrass, Rosenthal, obviously.
In 2014, his last full season, when he was with the Braves, Jordan Walden appeared in 58 games. He had a 1.2 WHIP and a 2.8 ERA, and he allowed 2 home runs. So that's pretty decent. It's just a matter of health.
That's good. I mean, that's the thing though. Is he gonna do his little hop, skip, and jump on the mound and blow his elbow out again?
Right.
He keeps having setbacks after setbacks after setbacks, which has really opened the door for. And we're gonna hit on. I'm gonna hit on it here in a second. Is that basically open the door for Hazelbaker to make it on the roster?
Right. You had mentioned Hazelbaker, and I want to, for just a couple minutes here, keep talking about the offense. Go back to the offense. It's been a trend the last 2 or 3 seasons. The Cardinals' offense has been terrible. To be honest with you, it has not been good. They've relied on pitching the last couple of years, and it's worked out for them. But at some point, you need to have offense. You have to actually score more runs than your opponent, and sometimes I don't trust the offense to do that.
Exactly.
So talk about guys who maybe will be on the roster soon, such as a Hazelbaker, or guys they might trade for, guys who might be traded from the Cardinals. You had a couple notes on that.
Yeah, so obviously, not many people know about him, but I don't remember his first name, but his last name is Hazelbaker, as crazy as it does sound. But he had an awesome spring. He hit for power like crazy. I think he deserved a spot on the roster, and rightfully so, he got it. He's a career minor leaguer up until this point, but like I said, he's shown out in spring training, and I think that he's a kind of an insurance policy on the offensive side. And like you said, that's why I think that the Cardinals went with Piscotty over Hayward, is because Piscotty is there to hit, not so much defense. He's there to drive in the nuts.
They need the offense.
Exactly. And then a couple trades I kind of had. I think if you're going to trade, the 2 people you're going to have out is Matt Adams, and that's just because he hasn't produced on a normal level
consistently.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's a potential if he goes to the American League, he's a potential David Ortiz, a guy that just hits home runs. I mean, he could do that. The 2 places I kind of thought of were the Braves and the A's. And the Braves, the reason I thought about it was because Freddie Freeman is a potential all-star every year. He goes into every year being a potential all-star. The thing is the Braves are wanting to get youthful. Are they going to be able to pay Freddie Freeman what he deserves? Here's what I'm thinking. You trade for Matt Adams and Marco Gonzalez. They play in your minor league system until Freddie Freeman is gone.
And remember that the Braves are rebuilding. They're not doing
exactly
until that stadium gets built. They're going to be terrible.
Exactly. So Freddie Freeman deserves to be on a contender. So that's why I think trade for Matt Adams and you trade for Marco Gonzalez. They want prospects. So you have Matt Adams playing your minor leagues for a little with Marco Gonzalez. They play in the minor leagues for a little while. In return, the Cardinals get Nick Markakis. Then if that happens, I think Matt Holliday plays first. And I also think that Piscotty moves over to left field. And then it was the same 2 people, Matt Adams and Marco Gonzalez, for Josh Reddick. Just because Josh Reddick is not really going anywhere. He hits potentially 20 home runs a year, but he doesn't, he's just I don't know what you would call it. He's just, he's not that kind of, he needs to be on a playoff team.
And I'm with you. We'll wrap up on this note. I'm with you about Adams and Marco Gonzalez. If Matt Adams continues to play the way he has in the last couple of years, he's got to go. There's no doubting that, in my opinion, is that he's the first trade candidate along with Marco Gonzalez. Because if you're trading a pitcher, you don't want to get rid of Alex Reyes because he's too good. And all of our current pitchers are obviously way too good. So I think it's Matt Adams and Marco Gonzalez, and maybe you can throw in some of the prospects that we have not mentioned. But my trade candidate is Carlos Gonzalez from the Rockies. We have had our eye on him for the past couple seasons. He needs to be on a contender too. He's been with the Rockies his entire career, and the Rockies have gone absolutely nowhere. And I understand that the Coors Field effects inflates some stats, but there's no doubting that he's still a really good player. Health for him is an issue, but he needs to be on a winning team, much like his former teammate Troy Tulowitzki. So Mozeliak will probably pull out some trade that we have not mentioned and wow us all.
Exactly. The only thing that I have against your Carlos Gonzalez thing, and I think it's an awesome idea, I think it really is, and it would be a great addition to the Cardinals. The thing is like you said, he's on a bad team. You're the next best player you have is Nolan Arenado.
And he's good.
And Nolan Arenado is probably better offensively than Carlos Gonzalez is. And
I agree.
Nolan Arenado is probably a better player than Carlos Gonzalez. The thing is if you're on a bad team but performing really well, you have high, lack of a better term, swag. You walk around with a little bit extra oomph in your step because you're like, I'm the biggest, baddest person on this
You're
team.
the so-called big man on campus, right?
Exactly. The problem is if he goes to the Cardinals and he realizes that everybody else is doing really well and that he may not get noticed as much,
sure.
Is he going to be able to keep that swag? Like, is he going to be able to pimp that home run every time I love his swing. He's got one of the most gorgeous swings in the league. But is he going to be able to keep pimping those home runs?
Maybe not.
Like,
that's a good point.
That's the thing. Is he going to be able, if he's, when he hits a home run in Colorado, he's like, did it again. I'm the guy. He goes to the Cardinals. Grichuk, let's say Grichuk's, they're halfway through the season. Grichuk's got like 25 home runs already. Grichuk doesn't pimp nothing. Grichuk hits and runs. That's what he does. Is Carlos Gonzalez going to be able to take that sweet swing and just sit there and watch that? I don't think so. I think the problem he's going to have is he's going to see, hey, I'm not the big guy on campus anymore. I'm not the star of the team. I need to fit in. Because I don't think he fits in. In Colorado, I don't think he fits. I think he's just, when people walk in the locker room, they're like, hey, that's Carlos Gonzalez. He's, like you said, big man on campus. You just got to let him do his thing.
And he may
Cardinals, I don't think it'll be like that.
He may not be just a good fit. I mean, baseball-wise, he might be an okay fit, but personality-wise and all the factors included, it may not be a good fit. Who knows? And that's sort of the thing to be decided.
I got just because I brought it up, I'm kind of curious as to your thoughts. I said how he pimps the home runs. What just kind of a side note, just to take a break, just a little fun topic real quick. What is your perspective on the so-called bat flip?
I love it. I mean, think about it. The average viewer for Major League Baseball is like 56 years old. They're very traditional, and they probably don't like the bat flips. If Major League Baseball wants to appeal to the younger generations, us included, it's not like basketball and football where they're celebrating and they're being all, for lack of a better term, swagger-ish. Bryce Harper had a quote a couple weeks ago he said how the game is tired, and I agree with it. I mean, some of these unwritten rules, just stop. When Jose Bautista hit that home run for the Blue Jays in the playoffs, I watched that dozens of times because it was just fun to watch. You don't see that at all. Guys just going crazy when they hit a massive home run in the playoffs or a home run to win it. Baseball doesn't always have to be this posh, polite game. I like the in-your-face stuff. Now, as you had said in our last podcast, yeah, you don't need to do it in the second inning of a game where it's tied 0-0 and you hit a solo home run to make it 1-0. It's the second inning. Who cares? But in the big moments, I think it's wonderful to see.
Oh, I that's what I shared it on my personal Facebook page. Honestly, was like I said, in big moments, it's awesome. The fans. I'm a fan of baseball. I almost like every team in certain ways. The Blue Jays were so fun last year. Mm-hmm. Jose Bautista is always at the center of attention. Always, there's something going on with him all the time. He hits that massive crush home run and throw. That was a flip. He threw his bat.
Yep.
I got chills. It was awesome to watch. Like you said, it was just it was cool. Matt Adams did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, against Clayton Kershaw.
And exactly, and he threw the bat in the air, but no one raised any hell about that. It was because, like you said, I think Bryce Harper hit it right on the head. The game is getting tired. Not everybody's wanting just to see players hit the ball. When you know that it's a no-doubt home run, David Ortiz has made a living off hitting home runs in whatever inning it happens to be. He does. I don't even call it a bat flip. It's kind of he turns and he throws the bat. Okay, that's you saying, hey, I'm here to hit home runs against you.
Yeah, and my theory is this, as a pitcher, if you don't like it, get the guy out.
Exactly. Don't throw a fit because he took you deep. He's paid to hit home runs. You're paid to prevent them. Do your job, and then you'll prevent his.
Yeah. If you don't like him showing off, that's fine. But strike him out then. Get him out. With all the young players in the league these past 2 years, I think you'll see more of it, and that's great. And I hope as these years continue on, you will see more of it because it's fun to watch. It makes baseball fun to watch. You see Steph Curry drain a long three and then go on, and then as he's walking down the other end of the court, pump up the crowd. That type of stuff you don't see in baseball because at some points in the game, people think it has to be polite. I don't agree with that all the time.
That's why the Cubs are so exciting to watch.
Yeah.
They're so youthful. They can do things that most people can't.
Yep.
Like, and that's the thing that makes them – that's what's so cool about a lot of people, I was on Facebook, a couple of my buddies kind of got into it about the Cubs Cardinals thing, And one of my buddies and me, we get kind of mad when, Cubs fans put words in our mouth. I am a Cardinals fan through and through. Yes. Do I give crap to Cubs fans? Yes, because they give it to us. It's a rivalry thing. But I am super excited that the Cubs are good again because it's going to make it so much more fun to watch and pay attention to. I wish nothing but the best to all 30 teams. It's going to be great. The Cubs are so youthful. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And you know what? I say in crucial situations, in game time, game winning, a playoff, home run, in any way, bat flip away.
Yep, I agree completely. And if the pitcher doesn't like it, well, then get him out next time.
Exactly.
Just because you do a bat flip doesn't mean you need to bean them in the bag next time. Go get him out. It's your job. Go get him out.
You're getting paid millions to pitch a ball. He's getting paid millions to hit that said ball. He did his job this one time. You think about it. They hit home runs. They hit 30 home runs is about your average good season home run is 30. If you're a power hitter, 30 home runs is what you aim for. Out of 500 at-bats,
30 times.
30 home runs.
I'll do the simple math for you.
470 of those at-bats. 470 at-bats is basically...
That's about 16% of the time.
Exactly. So you're getting mad because he bat flips one time, maybe hit the top 5 times. Okay, you have 200-something strikeouts. Okay, if you want to, Marcus Stroman is by far one of the coolest pitchers to watch because when he strikes people out, he hops off the mound, he hops around, he has fun because he realizes it's a kid's game that he's playing.
Yep.
You have fun while you can because when it's gone, you miss it.
Yep. I couldn't have said it better. I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Bryant do it a couple times. I wouldn't mind seeing Bryce Harper do it a bunch because I think Bryce Harper will be really good at it. But watching Jose Bautista, I want to see him do it again. Mike Trout, I want to see him do it too. All the young guys. Now Kyle Schwarber could probably eat his bat, but I'm pro bat flip. So thank you for joining us on this podcast. Look for us again next week. From now on, we're going to be wrapping up each week and how the Cardinals have been doing, and we'll do some touches around the league as well. But our next programming will be coming next weekend. So look for us then. Thanks for joining us.